Welcome to the Robot Millennium movie. In this movie we're going to look at how to define a 3D structure with beams, columns and surfaces. We've already defined a predefined axis on the screen and we're now going to use this axis to input some members. Also defining some simple supports. As we have previously seen in Robot, it is possible to define many different types of supports, including non-linear supports, sprung supports, and tension compression only supports. We're now going to copy the data that we previously defined to form a three-dimensional structure. Note that when this copy is made, not only is the diagram copied, but also any structural attribute such as support and section size or load that is defined on the member. We're now going to choose to work at a particular plane within the model. In this case, at first story level. And on this first story, what we're going to do is to define some slab geometry. So firstly, to do that, we have to define the perimeter of the slab. On this particular structure, we're going to define a rectangular slab with a curved edge. Returning to the 3D model, you can see that we have now defined a slab at a certain level. And within this structure now we can define some structural attributes on the panel, such as thickness and material type. In this case we're going to define a 200 mm thick concrete slab. Having defined this slab, we are now able to copy it to the next level. And just as with the beams, when we copy this we are transferring all items, not just the geometry, but also any structural attributes assigned to it. We're now going to alter one of these slabs by the addition of some holes. On the model we are now going to define some wall panels. Here we have a typical wall with a door inside. And on the rear of the building we're also going to define a wall with a window. Again, back to our 3D model and we can see exactly what we have defined. We're now going to define some section sizes and assign these to the model. In this particular example, we're using members from the UK section database, although many section databases are supported inside Robot Millennium. We can now see the exact size of member that has been defined and verify the size in Object Properties command. Maybe the orientation of the member is incorrect. If so, we can use the gamma angle command to easily change this member. Like so. We're now selecting to work on a plane at the top of the structure. And now we're going to define a new story on top of the building. Part of this structure includes a curved roof at the very top. We're now going to start to define the geometry of that roof. To define the geometry of the roof, we can take a previously defined piece of information, such as the curve, and extrude that shape to form a surface. Like so. We're now going to add some bracing to the structure. We're now selecting the bracing members, and we're going to pin each end of the member. The geometry of our structure is now almost complete, and we can now verify all of our information in tables should we desire. And if we wish, take these tables automatically to Excel. Naturally, it's also simple to change the geometry of the structure through implementing changes in the table, which are also naturally reflected on the geometrical model. In addition to pinning ends of members, of course we can also pin edges of the structure too, in this case the walls that we have defined. Now to define some load cases and loads within those load cases. In this case, we're going to define some surface loads. We're now going to choose to work on the second slab. And in this slab, apply some more complex loading. In this case, a line load. Note how we apply all of our line loads and all of our loads onto the geometry of the structure. There is no need inside Robot to apply those loads directly to finite elements, because the program takes care of the application of the loads to the elements inside the software. Therefore, the user only need define the loads in the real position on the model. Some wind load and a combination of loads. We can combine loads manually, or we can use the built-in code combinations facility inside Robot Millennium.